Thank you so much, Daniel, right there, for that intensive discussion on the spirit of things in Edo State politics right there. We'll see how things will pan out at the end of the day. And that brings us to our Abuja segment, where we'll take a look at the issue of security in the Federal Capital Territory. And joining me this morning to take a look at that is no other person than Dr. Peter Olumuji, the Secretary Command and Control Center, FCT Administration. And just to buttress the point of what we're looking at, he's also a Doctor of Philosophy in Security and Strategy Studies and majors in Urban Security. And that is the cause of the discussion this morning, because we're talking about security in the Federal Capital Territory and the reflection of Nigeria at large. It's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Thank you very much.
Let's get to the nitty-gritty of the discussion, and this has to do with the spirit of insecurity in the Federal Capital Territory. A few months ago, we had stories, we had incidents of kidnapping and so many things, one chance on everything, to the extent that the Minister of FCT had to place a price on a particular person that anybody who was able to get him would be given 20 million naira. But all of a sudden after that, everything went down. What was the security architecture put in place under your watch in conjunction with the Minister of FCT to ensure that this spirit of insecurity was reduced to the BRS minimum?
Yes, you know, just like you said rightly, before now, the residents of FCT were living in fear and apprehension. They were not sure of their security and safety, and it became a source of concern to the FCT Minister, Barrister Agency Wike, and he had to summon security meetings with all the relevant security agencies led by the Commissioner of Police, CP Ben Igwe, MNI. And you know, the Commissioner of Police is a grassroots person when it comes to internal security. He understood the terrain in the FCT, and he came in at a critical period that FCT needed to really boost the morale of the resident, boost the confidence of the resident. And he came with his magic touch, let me use that word, you know, and he was able to put things in place, and he changed the narrative. And what we see today is that the residents of FCT are now on a daily basis praising the Minister of FCT for providing security and safety, also praising the leadership of the Nigerian police force, because you know the Nigerian police is in charge of internal security. So if anything goes wrong in terms of security of lives and property, it falls under their purview. And if everything goes right also, then you should also praise them. And today, the residents of FCT are appreciative of this good gesture and the delivery.
Okay, let's take a look at the measures taken by the FCT administration. Part of the measures taken was to destroy some of the shanty towns, some bacha all over the place. Is that the only source of tackling the security?
Yes, the FCT administration did not destroy shanty towns, you know. But what the FCT administration did was to remove places that harbor these illegalities. Yeah. You know, in the FCT, the master plan has where the Land Use Act has where each activity will be situated. And we realize that because of some nefarious activity of some people who do not care about what happens within the system, they started to sell land where they are not meant to. They started to erect structures where they are not meant to. And at the long run, these illegalities, these shanties, started to breed criminalities, and also create a safe haven for people that have this mindset to be able to stay with nobody seeing them, you know. And part of the measure the FCT administration analyzed, you know, in tackling this insecurity is to see that all these places that has illegalities, you know, that harbors this hoodlums, that harbors people that don't have a fixed address, is for you to remove them. So the FCT minister gave the go-ahead to the department which is responsible for it, as the Department of Development Control under the leadership of the able director, town planner Galadima Mukhtar, you know, MNI. He was able to bring up the team in conjunction with all the relevant security agencies, and the movers were done. And that also aided the security architecture of the FCT.
Now, looking at your area of study, which you are a doctor of philosophy in security and strategy studies, and a major in urban security. Yeah. A reflection, whatever happens in the FCT can also be replicated in other parts of the federation, talking about other states across the federation. Let's talk about urban security. Yes. With a growing population and looking at the number of security at disposal, it's becoming even more demanding or challenging for some of our security architecture to be able to tackle this, especially when it comes to urban security. Do you think the current security architecture we have right now could be enough to tackle the level of urbanization we have and growing population?
Yeah, when you talk about urbanization, you are talking about something that transcends even Nigeria. Yeah. In the world, in the global world, we are talking about everybody wants to be urbanized. Yeah. Everybody is leaving the rural area to an urbanized city, and where was even a rural area has now become an urban location. So when you look at that, the current architecture of Nigeria has the capacity to ensuring that people in Nigeria are able to sleep with their two eyes closed. They're able to tackle what is there. But again, one thing I've come to realize over time, which the FCT administration had to do, and it has helped the security situation in the FCT, is that the FCT administration was able to get the buy-in of the communities, the local community. If you notice, the FCT minister had to go to the 6th area council to hold town hall meeting with them, and it's a way of building their confidence, it's a way of getting feedback from them, it's a way of knowing their challenges, and from this, it starts with the security committee, which comprises the relevant security agencies in the FCT, and they were able to spell out, to strategize, on what to do now, which I would not want to start talking about now. Then also, the FCT administration also encouraged people and giving out information, and that's why the FCT call center number was constantly rolled out to the public, and also the FCT control room number was constantly rolled out to the public, and gradually the residents of FCT started to use this number, because before now they feel if they use the number, it's not going to work. So gradually they started to make use of this number, reporting whenever they see something, they report it, they say something, and they saw the action was being taken, and gradually it boosted their morale in constantly using it, and that has helped us. Now bringing it now to the larger community, the Nigerian system as a whole, I believe we, the residents, the citizens of Nigeria, we need to also start to believe in our security architecture. We need to give information to the relevant security agencies, because the security people are not spirits. Let me tell you that. They are not omnipresent. They are not everywhere. When you see something and you say something, just like what has been achieved in the Federal Capital Territory, it can also be replicated in every other state of the Federation. And when you do this, it now gives the security agencies the upper hand in nipping on board, any security threat within any locality. But the challenge we have in some of these states is that people just condemn the government, condemn the security agency without giving out information. Timely information, real-time information to the security agency helps to curb any rate of insecurity and threats to lives and property. So we want to encourage the citizens of Nigeria to start to believe in our security architecture. We have the best brain, come from the military, from the paramilitary. We have the best brain in leadership in this security system, but we need to also play our own role, just like it has been achieved in the FCT. If FCT can get it right, then there's no state in the Federation that will not be able to get it right.
But what is the place of trust in the middle of all this? Because you talked about the fact that community also reaching out to provide information. Trust is one major issue for you to have that faith. Over the years, we've had instances, you have some pocket of complaints saying, even if you give that information, you are not sure you are going to follow up. Or somebody may turn back on you. How do you bring back that trust, that people feel that they can really confide in our security?
Thank you. What you just talked about is what we experience in the FCT. Like I made mention earlier on, the residents never had that confidence on the security agency. They believe if they give out information, confidential information, they are going to be betrayed. And like I said, the minister had to go out to build their complaint to tell them that, look, any information you give out to these security agencies will be treated with utmost confidentiality. And we started to reel out the hotline, the FCT call center number, the FCT police command center, and people started, once Mr. A calls and it works, he tells Mr. B that, oh, this thing is really working. Mr. B tells Mr. C, Mr. D, Mr. E, and that's how it is. So now, coming to the larger society, the leadership of our security architecture in Nigeria, right from the Chief of Defense Staff to the IG of Police and the rest, have been emphasizing that people should understand that they are ready to do the job properly, and that we as residents, we as citizens of Nigeria should believe in them. And once we start to key into that statement, then it starts to work. It happened in FCT, and that's why I can boldly say it here. But again, we have fifth columnists that want to discourage people from really believing that it can work. Go to Lagos State. That is another visible example that you can give. People give information to the security agencies, and they're able to meet it by threats to life on the board. Now, when you talk about intelligence-led security, and you are talking about community policing, all this thing is all about the community being part of it, and that is why we always encourage that even our traditional rulers, our religious leaders, on their platform, the traditional rulers from their own local community, the religious leaders on their platform, they should be able to preach confidence to the heart of the rest of their followership. Once you do this, the followership will believe in the system, and once they believe in the system, then they can divulge information to the security agencies, and before you know, we are getting it right. So I don't think the leadership of our security system in Nigeria today has what it takes to curb it, but they need our buy-in, they need our own input at every point in time, just like it has happened in the FCT. It can also happen in any other place.
You talked about community policing. I know that there are pockets of places in the Federal Capital Territory that I can go to that will see the police patrol van by the roadside. But in satellite towns, it is not the same. And that brings me to the issue about how do you be able to have this across the satellite towns, in Yanya, in Lokogoma, in some other, in Guagalada, in Beverly. How do you boost that to get to that level? I know you talked about the FCT working assiduously. What are the plans to be able to ensure that each community do experience the feeling of security when they have they can be sure of the community patrol van around the area?
No, when you talk about community policing, it's not all about the presence of seeing a police patrol van parked somewhere, strategically parked to respond to it. What it means more is that intelligence sharing by the community. You are believing in the system, in the security architecture. As community members, the youth leaders within the community, the religious leaders, the traditional leaders, the market women, the transportation system operators, and the rest. This is what forms all about community policing. They believe that as you see something, you are able to say something, and as you are saying something, is helping the law enforcement agencies to be able to react accordingly. Now, when you talk about in the FCT, the entire 6 area councils, talking for Abaji to Kuje to Gwagwalada to Buhari to Kwale and Amak, which is the city center. What the FCT Police Command has in place is to build confidence of the residents in this local area council, because even during this Salah break, the CP of FCT had to go to the various area councils before even coming to the national praying ground, and all this thing is confidence building, because when the people see that action will be taken, then they are ready to divulge information. And let me tell you something, a lot of achievements that have been recorded in the last few weeks is because the residents were able to give intelligence information, actionable intelligence. And once you get actionable intelligence and you analyze it and you go into it, then you realize that the breakthrough is just there.
It was an unprecedented feat when we heard the Minister of Health declaring this particular individual wanted and placing a bounty on his head. And a lot of people say, that could it not lead to the influence of bounty orders? in the Federal Capital Territory. But do you think that decision at that time also helped to curb the crisis?
Yes, it's not just an individual. They are two notorious wanted kidnappers that have been operating in the FCT. To the extent that even when they kidnapped their victim, they wanted to collect ransom, they had to send their wives to go and collect the ransom. You know, and these two people were so critical to bringing down whatever kidnap incidents in the FCT, and that's why that bounty was placed. And within 2 weeks, the Nigerian Police Force FCT command was able to apprehend the two most wanted kidnappers in the FCT. And you can see that we are experiencing peace now.
Yes, I think that we are doing with Dr. Peter that we're experiencing peace now. At least you can go to bed with our eyes closed, and you can also enter public transport without fear that probably we may enter into one chance right there. And going forward right there, with what has been achieved so far, how do we build more structures on these? What are the plans to build more structures so that we can be sure that we will go back to the to Sodom and Gomorrah again?
Yes, with the activeness of the FCT Police Commission, I don't think we are going back to the era of Sodom and Gomorrah in the FCT. Already, they constantly carry out visibility patrol. They constantly carry out raid of black spots. A lot of arrests have been made. During this period, suspects were arrested with locally fabricated arms and the rest. You know, and all these arrests brought about the security and safety during this period we can experience. And if you're even looking at yesterday during the Eid prayer, that is a soft target for anybody to do anything. But he was able to carry out an effective deployment that covers every nook and cranny of whatever was going on within the prayer ground. Both the visibility, the crowd control, which is a major thing, because crowd control and management is key to whatever you were doing in that place. You can see the picture, the crowd and everything. But everything went seamlessly. So it shows that a lot of strategic plan have been in place. But these are things that all you need as resident of FCT is the success story. We can't divulge whatever the plan is, and you have been seeing the success story.
Okay, I must say big thank you to you, Dr. Peter Olumide, Executive Command and Control Center, FCT Administration, and like you said, you're also a Doctor of Philosophy, Security and Strategy Studies with major in urban security. And he's been talking to us, he's been involved actively with the security architecture of the Federal Capital Territory. I must say big thank you to you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break right now as we link up with our Benin Network Studio for TFI Socials.